Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. The Ghana Meteorological Agency is warning of flooding in parts of Accra when the rain set in March. Areas such as Kaswa, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Graphic Road and the Tetekwashi interchange will be hardest hit. Director General Michael Tanu speaks to Joy News.
We expect flooding to occur around the Odo area and then the Kaswa Road there around Weja, and then getting to the this place where we have the Odo area, the Kaswa place, getting to Kaswa around where the mall is, and then Tetekwashi area there. Those places are places that we really have to be watching this because around I think Legon upwards going there, most of the time when it rains we have a lot of these things, and you see cars, they become very unmotorable, and so we have to take the necessary precautions when we are there. With flooding, we will still warn that floods are definitely possible to happen because the resilient level of Accra particularly has changed. First, to get flooding in Accra, you need to get about 80 millimeters of rainfall. But currently now, even 30 millimeters of rainfall can cause flooding. It's all because our gutters and other things are choked because of the way we have been handling them by dumping in rubbish and other things in these gutters. And these are things that we need to avoid. And then we have to still go by the first month Saturday of with the certain gutters at the community level. If we can help with this, it will actually not help so that the water do not stand or store in these gutters to breed mosquitoes and other things, which will bring malaria and other things.
I have here in the studio Acting Head of Center Analysis and Forecasting Office, Felicity Ahafianyo, who is joining me here in the studio. And if you do watch the weather forecast, you certainly will be familiar with your welcome now.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's try and help us understand why we're going to see these trends and the areas that you're predicting will be worst hit.
Thank you. Every year we have a rains, and the aftermath is the floods that normally hit us, especially those of us in the cities, Accra, Kumasi, and last year we have it over the Upper East region. Now it has to do with the volume of the water that comes, and then the built environment, and then the choked gutters that surround us. So as the rain starts, the sun is there, so we have enough energy, so the volume also comes with it. So maybe if you're going to have like 30 millimeters of water at a go, maybe for just an hour, which the soil may not be able to percolate it that fast, definitely it will cause a flash flood over some areas.
Okay.
And then with the built environment that we have, like the pavement and then our roads and other things too, will also lead to more runoff water that will result into the flash floods.
So then you've predicted a number of areas which I mentioned, Kaswa, etc. Do you have a full list of the area, or are these just the areas that will be affected?
Generally, we are looking at all the flood-prone areas.
Okay.
Since the rains are going to start from the coastal belt and then later move to the middle sector, then the northern sector, we are starting over the coastal belt. Later, those over the hinterlands will come, and then the northern sector one will come.
In this case, is there any advice that the Meteorological Agency will have for institutions, organizations, people?
Yes. Today we released our seasonal forecast into the public domain, where we tabulated how the season is going to be like for the entire season for 2020, the starts of the year, the rainy season, and then the end of the rainy season. And then the areas that are likely to have a slightly above the normal rainfalls that we normally experience over the country. So we listed all these things, and then you can also help send it out to your viewers.
So I believe that this is it?
Yeah, this is it.
So this essentially has a forecast for the whole of this year?
Yes.
Wow. So one of the things that people have, one of the problems that people have with the Ghana Meteorological Agency, which I'm sure you have heard over and over again, is the level of trust that we can place in your predictions. Some people will usually, be cynical and say, oh, the Ghana Meteorological Agency always reports it when it has already happened. How has that changed?
I think over the years we had improvement. I think last year was much better than 2018, and we are hoping 2022 will be much better. The challenge we have at Ghana Meteorological Agency has to do with the media. Most of the times when we send the information, you guys don't send it out to the public.
We do.
You wait when the thing finished before you now bring it out.
No,
like
we don't.
Today, we come out with the seasonal forecast.
Okay.
Now, I was thinking we will be talking about the start of the rainy season and then other things, but the flood is also okay. You understand?
The flood is actually very important because people have died in this country in floods.
Yes.
So it's a very emotional part of the conversation for Ghanaians.
Yes.
And so we put the focus there. But you are the expert. So if there's anything that you need for us to know, it's up to you to highlight it in some of these engagements. So you do tell us.
Yes, for the rainy season for this 2020, we are saying that the rains are going to start early. And to God be the glory, we're able to come out before the rain. Though some people saw some rain on Tuesday, and then some are even seeing some today. And then tomorrow to some areas will also experience some. But we are saying that the 4th week of February up to May, there will be a rainy season for the start of the rainy season over the entire country. For the coast and then part of the middle sector, the 4th week of February to the 2nd week of April will be the start of the rainy season.
So 4th week of February to 1st week in April.
1st or 2nd week in April.
So let's say 2nd week in April.
Yeah.
We'll experience a lot of rain.
Yes, over
across the country.
No, over the southern sector.
Over the southern sector.
Yes.
Okay.
Then for the northern sector is going to be 2nd week of April to the 4th week of May for the northern sector.
I'd like for you to go through it again. Give us an idea between now and I think what you have here is up to, is it June?
Yeah, the June has to do with the major rainy season for the southern sector.
I'm sure by then we can bring you back in the studio and then we'll have a conversation. But between now and April, go through it for us once again, depending on which area.
Okay, for the forest zone, we are anticipating for 4th week this week up to the 2nd week of March. That is when the rains will start. Then for the west coast, we are looking at 1st week of March, which is next week, to the 4th week of March. And then for the east coast, we are looking at the 2nd week of March to the 2nd week of April. So those of us over Greater Accra, we are looking at it that between the 2nd week of March to the 2nd week of April, that is when our rains will really start. And then those of us over the transition zone, the hours will start from the 4th week of March to the 2nd week of April. Now we are moving to the northern sector. For the northern zone, we are going for 2nd week of April to the 4th week of April. The upper west region, we are looking at 2nd week of April to the 1st week of May. And then the upper east region, we are looking at 4th week of April to the 2nd week of May. So for the whole country, the 4th week of February to the 4th week of May 2020. That's
those are the areas that we should be looking at very well.
Yes. Then to add up to within this there are days that we'll be having no rain. It could be we'll have between 10 to 20 days without rain within it, which we call the dry distance, the dry spells within the season.
So essentially, we're going to have a mix of dry and rainy season.
Yes.
Is that the normal?
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah, it's normal. When you say dry, we are not talking about the Harmattan season.
Okay.
We are only talking about an ordinary day where you have partly cloudy sky, you have sunny weather, but you will not get any rain.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So right now you're saying that Ghanaians can put their trust a lot more in the predictions of the Meteorological Agency.
Yes, last year we did verification on the forecast, and we scored almost 70%.
Oh, wow.
Which is a good news. And then we are hoping that this year we will up the game to get to 90, so that we will zoom to area specific, so that when we tell you that it's going to rain around Kokomemle, the rain should be there.
I'm sure that it will be good to have you back in the studio maybe another time. So we'll look at the next maybe set of months, maybe the next quarter. But at least we have an idea how February, the last week in February till April and May will look like roughly.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah.
Can I add something? We have a Central Analysis and Forecasting Office. That's the main office that does the daily forecast.
Okay.
Now we have the weekly forecast, which is always ready at on Mondays at 5 p.m., where we give you the whole outlook for the whole week. So you know that on Tuesday, on Wednesday, this is how it's going to look like. And then on Wednesday, we give you the midweek forecast. That takes care of the Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. Then we have the weekend forecast too. Okay. So it tells you how your weekend is going to be and then into Monday. Then the daily forecast.
Which you need to put
in
an app
yes.
And get it on our phones.
Yeah, we have WhatsApp platforms, pages, several of them. We have our website is also up and doing now.
Okay. No, I mean an app that people can, because these days your phone can tell you the weather. But
yes,
for our localized one.
Yes,
know,
yes. We are doing something.
You're doing something like
yes,
that.
like
okay.
that.
Well, thank you very much for coming and for giving us this update. So if you live in these areas that we've mentioned, Kasoa, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, etc., you want to look out between now and April. There are going to be rains and there's going to be some floods. So take care of yourself. Felicity Afianyo is the acting head of the Center of Analysis and Forecasting Office of the Ghana Meteorological Agency. She joined us with the details there. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much.
Well, as I wrap up, unfortunately, we're unable to bring you the stories from Parliament, but Joseph Opoku Gakpo will bring that to us in our prime news, and it's all about Professor Michael Quay, Speaker of Parliament, who's saying that he has no intention of restricting media freedom. He says the media should accept correction, and he's been repeating his call on the media to avoid covering incidents outside the chamber when the House is sitting. If you recall, he said this yesterday. There was a lot of backlash. He said that he doesn't intend to restrict media organizations from doing their work, but he wants them to focus on what happens still on the floor of Parliament. The majority leader has spoken. The minority leader has spoken as well. We'll bring you that in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Do log on to myjoyonline.com. There is more news and information there.